So today I learned about two men who passed away who were roughly my age in the public eye. One was Keith Flint of The Prodigy. And if you don't know who The Prodigy was, remember the song Firestarter? That was The Prodigy. That was probably back in, I guess, the early 90s, kind of a hardcore track, a groundbreaking track. I used to play it as a DJ once in a while. He was 49, and I'm not sure about cause of death. I haven't really read up on that too much. But Luke Perry also passed away, and he was 52 years old. He had a stroke on February 27th, which was like 5-6 days ago. Today is March 4th, and presumably he's died of complications of stroke. And I learned about Luke Perry's stroke on Facebook the other day because my cousin had made a post about it. And she wrote up top, "Oh my God, too young." And my first reaction was, oh man, that's terrible that this happened to, to this guy. I wish stroke on no one. And then my next reaction was, what are you talking about, cuz? Hello? I was a month away from my 40th birthday before I had my stroke. I think there are a lot of people out there in the general public who just assume that strokes are for old people, but that's not true. It's actually pretty common for young people to have them. And the other thing I wanted to just point out was that it's not always something that we did. When I had mine, I had, I don't know, a lot of followers on YouTube, and I made a post about it from the hospital. You can go back and look at that if you want to. But most people were just concerned and such, and there are a few people who would say, well, he was probably a drug user. No, I was not a drug user. In fact, I was a pretty healthy guy. My arteries were clear, my lungs are good, heart's good. Blood pressure, wonderful, like an 18-year-old's. The only thing that they found at all abnormal, which wasn't really that abnormal, was a slightly high cholesterol, elevated cholesterol. And I think it was like 200, and normal's like, what, 260, 280? There are people walking around out there with cholesterol in the 500s, and they're not dropping dead of stroke. So it just happens sometimes. And I don't mean to scare anybody who hasn't had one, because one thing that people might ask is, how can I prevent this? There's always things that you can do to prevent anything bad happening to you, but you can only do so much. Sometimes it just happens. I mean, look at Keith Richards. He's still walking around fine, right? And then there are guys like maybe myself who, was relatively healthy compared to Keith Richards as far as my lifestyle goes, yet I had a stroke. And apparently it was a birth defect. We're not really sure what happened, but yeah, when you go into ICU like that, you're kind of on the teeter-totter. They're not sure which way you're going to go sometimes. And I guess that's what happened to Luke Perry. I don't know. But a lot of people were wondering why there wasn't any information being, I guess, put out about this. Why was everybody saying, how he's doing? Probably because they weren't sure. That's kind of how it goes sometimes. You go away for a couple days, they keep an eye on you, and they see what happens. Sometimes you have another one. Sometimes you improve. Sometimes you digress. But yeah, it's very unfortunate that this happened. But the last thing I want to say in this video before I just turn the camera off is that if you've had a stroke, and a lot of you have who are watching, I'm sure, I know you get down sometimes and you think, oh my gosh, what's the point? Why me? You're alive. As we learned today, not everybody comes out of this alive, but you did. And the other thing I just want to say, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, is if you're worried about what you cannot do because of your stroke, that's going to make it tough for you. What you should be thinking about is what you can do. Don't worry about what you don't have. You can't do anything about it. Worry about what you do have and do something with it. That's it. Quick vlog. I'm done talking. Take care of yourself.